More now on that breaking news out of Washington, D.C. President Trump headed to Walter Reed Medical Center. That's according to a White House pool report. You're looking live now at Marine One, which just landed at the White House to pick up the president and take him to Walter Reed. We understand for more testing, of course. The president has tested positive for COVID-19, as has First Lady Melania Trump. We are told both are experiencing mild symptoms. The White House doctor saying the president is fatigued. He has been treated with an experimental, we understand, cocktail of drugs. An antibody treatment is what we're being told. And this trip to Walter Reed again is for more testing, as we understand it. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you all the new information that we can get.